Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of 3 Geeks Flix. Joining me as always is of course that Cheshire grin that you and I have grown to love, the muse Justin Kyle. Say hello everyone, Justin.
Hello everyone.
Ah yes, and of course I am the Tech Mitchell Wright. We are back. This is a beta. And I have sat down and watched Transformers the last night, and I know people have kind of heard me get real negative about it, and I'm gonna try to maybe somewhat surprise everybody here a little bit. But for once, the tables have turned. Instead of the Muse, of course, seeing something, I've finally seen something he hasn't. But anyways, I know he has some questions for me, so as I always do, I look to you, good Muse, and say, Justin, give it to me. What you got?
Well, my first question is, how does this stack up to the other films in the franchise? I know a lot of people have said that this isn't the worst one, and from most critical reception, the last one, the one before this one, is almost universally been ranked the worst one for the most part.
Yeah, and I mean, and I can go along and agree with that. In all honesty, it was not the worst one. Not at all. I would actually call it probably the second best one.
Really?
The whole trilogy. Yes, the first one, of course, being the granddaddy of them all.
Right.
You really can't touch it. But this one was not bad. It had a good start. And everybody's like, oh, the last night. What's with the medieval tie-in and the look back at the Nazis? Well, this is a spoiler-free, of course, in a beta, and I'm going to try to keep it as spoiler-free. But they reference back to that. There is a point. There are some great tie-ins with the other movies, some throwbacks to the other movies, which I'm pretty happy with. It has lots of subplots, though. There's many different things going on during this movie, and the subplots kind of weigh down the main story. And I understand, and you can see when you watch it, that why they kind of did that, but there's still some things that you feel like they could kind of trim the fat, so to speak, in the film. A plus that I will give it is that it did all tie in together, and it kind of cut back some of the over cheesiness that was in the last one and some of the others. So that was a plus.
Yeah, that's good. That's one of the things that I feel like the cheesiness and the blatant, product placement and the over the top acting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of what caused it to the franchise to dip a little bit, as opposed to the first one.
And they toned that down. They very much toned that down, which was a breath of fresh air, really, going into this.
So the first one is a good film.
Yes.
The first one is a really good film. I don't know about great,
it's a good
but overall, man, that first one, when it came out, that was like, this is awesome. This film is straight up awesome. Second one was pretty bad, but that was during the peak of the writer's strike. That's one of the things they were shooting without an unfinished script. Most people don't realize that. But my second question is, at this point, I feel like it's fair to compare who was a better leading man for the franchise, LaBeouf or Wahlberg so far.
Wahlberg did a decent job in this, okay? LaBeouf, he was, of course, your funny man, and he was much of your comical, whimsical part of it and everything, your kind of wacky part. But they do throw back in hell, too, the Witwicky line in this. And it kind of seems a little odd and far-fetched, but for what they did for it, it all does come together. You do get to see a brief glimpse of Mr. Sam Witwicky, not necessarily in the flesh, but you do see him. So
okay.
I think Wahlberg has come into be a good center point for the direction they're taking now.
Right. Sounds like there's a little Easter egg into Wigwigi
Yes.
there somewhere without going to spoilers.
Big Easter egg.
My third question is, in comparison to the other films in the franchise, how much ass does Prime kick in this? Optimus Prime kick?
You don't see Prime a lot.
Really?
Yeah, and I really don't want to give a lot away, but you really don't see a whole lot of him up into toward the end. This really highlights the bee, and it's kind of cool. That's kind of one of the things that I liked about it. It wasn't your just same monotonous ass kickery from Prime. You still get to see some of it, yes, but there are some things in this that could have been climactic and could have been just grand and great, and I feel like they almost like ended or finished a certain area or scene or something, especially like with the villains and everything. They seem so powerful, and yet at the end so easily somewhat finished off in a hurry kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I can't give any more away, say anything else. So yeah,
right. Okay, so
that.
my fourth question is, compared to the other films in the franchise, how much ass does Bumblebee kick in this movie?
Bumblebee, he's the freaking boss, man, and he's awesome in this. I liked Bee in this. It definitely was his time and his movie to shine. So I give it to Bee, and like I said, I'm pretty critical of some of the other films, but this one compared to the others, I mean, yeah, it's a Michael Bay film. It's bloated. There wasn't a lot of ad placement. I have to say that. I know you said that earlier. They focused more on the story, but there were so many stories going on is what really kind of tugged it down for me.
Were there too many stories going on? Was it too...
Yeah, they all tied in at the end, though. I have to say they did tie them all together, mostly. Some of them, they just kind of started up. You started to get interested, and then they finished it off real quick, and then you got back onto the main plot, and it kind of... It didn't hop too horribly, but it stuttered. It didn't hop and fault and jump. It got there, but it got there kind of with a bunch of different areas to meet. It took a minute, and there were some things that they probably could have left out, but I understand that they were really trying to tell the story, and I can't fault Bay for actually trying to tell a story this time.
Right. So I guess it wasn't, you're saying it could have been a little fluid, they stumbled, but then they picked it themselves back up and brought it together.
Yeah.
So in the marketing for this film, Michael Bay made it a big deal as far as the visual technology that he used. I think this was shot on the film shot with first real 3D IMAX cameras. Okay. And that's what kind of they were going out with.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you plan on talking about the visuals. So I'm trying to segue into that. How are the visuals with...
Visuals are always amazing. Great shots. Memorable shots. Shots in places that are timeless and epic. As far as visually, the movie's beautiful. And they've always have been. And the sound and effects were beautiful. And one of the things I like about the sound and the effects, especially tying into the music, they stayed away from pop. They didn't make it real poppy or the music of the time. It stayed very score heavy. And I was somewhat proud of them for that.
Yeah. So in the trailers, they show, obviously, when they go back, I guess they show a little back in the medieval times. There's like the horseback riding. It's almost gladiator-esque from what the trailer saw. How was that, and how do you think Michael Bay would do if he were to do a period piece in that time?
You know, I thought about that, and that was one of the things I was sitting there thinking whenever I saw that, because that's some of the opening scenes of the movie, and. Right. That was awesome. I mean, there were some great shots. It was some great cinematography. The battle scenes were great. The lighting, you felt that you were there at that time. There were a few moments with one character that you felt was played off to be goofy, to not be taken as seriously as they may have been when they were portrayed in other films, and I'll leave it at that. Right. But all in all, I think Bay would do a pretty awesome medieval movie, really. It looked good. It looks solid.
Okay. What about the score? I think Steve Jablonsky has scored the first three, I know for sure. I don't know about the fourth one. But that's one of the things that made that first one so epic is, how awesome that score was, mixed with the guitar, mixed with the epic score. I mean, Arrival to Earth, that song from the first one, it has potential to be iconic. What about the music in this one, the score in this one?
The score always did well to complement its scenes. The music never felt off, and so I have to bow to them that the score was solid. It wasn't game changing. It was your Transformer score that you know to enjoy. So I have to say that was a compliment to it. It wasn't the thing of all things to bring it out of any ashes or dust that it had still on it in certain parts, but it was good. It was good. Like I said, there wasn't a crap load of Linkin Park or Katy Perry or any other crap. So,
right. What about the? Was there? I'm assuming there was some sort of leading lady in this, from what the trailer showed, right?
There was, and I don't know her. I never knew her.
Right.
Is she a beautiful woman? I mean, yeah. Was she
movie.
Yeah. Was she your regular run-of-the-mill dummy in the movie? And I hate to say that, ladies, but I mean Michael Bay has not always made
Michael Bay movie.
Ladies, has not always made him strong. They had a stronger leading woman in this. She wasn't just your wash side of cupcake yumminess or anything like that. She had a purpose. And that was a breath of fresh air as well.
Right.
I mean, it's really what Michael has done. Michael's put him in there for eye candy, folks, okay? And for once, yes, she's a beautiful woman, but she wasn't merely just eye candy. She served a purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a Michael Bay movie. It's to be expected at this point. It's his trademark signature of his, as well as his low Dutch angles of looking up in slow-mo, panning. But
there were those.
Okay, so what about the? I know in the trailer there was some child acting involved with this, child actors. Now, I know the little girl. She says famously in the trailer, "I want to stay and I want to fight them," and then it looked pretty good from the trailers. How would you rate the child acting in this?
They were fine. It was brief. They didn't have a lot of heavy scenes. The trailer made it felt like it was maybe more kid heavy, and in all honesty, it was just brief moments really. The young girl though, she was solid. No gripes at all about her.
So that's the second answer to some of my questions that it seems like they were sort of almost disingenuous with the marketing. In other words, they made it look like Prime was going to be a big lead in this. It sounds like he wasn't. As well as, like you just pointed out, the child acting wasn't as big an element in the final product as what the trailer showed.
Right.
How accurate do you think the trailers represent the actual film?
Not really.
Not really?
No, not
in
all
good
honesty,
way?
not really. I mean, they left a lot to be seen. I have to give them that. This movie didn't necessarily play out exactly how I thought. Of course, save the world in every single one of them. Yeah, we knew that. But as far as how they got there to the end, the trailer didn't give it away too much.
Okay. Without going into any spoilers, I'm assuming they sort of left the ending open for more films.
Oh, yeah.
Did they do a good job at that, at least? Was it something like a cliffhanger, or do you feel full, yet you're ready for tomorrow's meal?
They left it open. And, your usual suspects are out there. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, that's all my questions that I could think of.
Okay.
I guess my final one is, what's your number?
I'm going to surprise everyone. I'm probably going to surprise everyone out of this because it surprised me. This movie was not awful. It did not fail. It did not make a failing grade like The Mummy. Hopkins was a good highlight. The callbacks were a nice highlight. Even though some things were not necessarily as important and you don't have time to buy in, they could have simplified the subplots. That would have fixed some things. Still, it had some surprises. And given all those surprises and things that were decent, I'm going to give this a 6.5. It was okay. 7 is solid. 6.5 is okay.
What would you rate the? What would you give the first Transformers?
I was a 9 for me.
I can agree with that. I'd say more like an 8. It's tough.
It's tough. I mean, it depends when you catch me, because right now I'm kind of nostalgic. I would say it's anywhere between an 8.5 to a 9.
I would say I go back and forth. It's at least an 8.75. Again, I think it's better than 8.5. But then on some days if I watch it and I'm in that nostalgic feeling, I'm like, this movie's a 9, bro. It's a great film all around. But
absolutely.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Given that.
Oh.
What?
Should I check this out in theaters?
I mean, if you really don't have a whole lot going on, it's a matinee, you've got a cheaper ticket, and you want something just to kind of sit down and look pretty and not necessarily make you think real hard, but just to kind of just sit back and let wash over you, yeah. Why not? 6.5. Okay. It is not the worst movie of 2017. I don't necessarily think it'll win a Razzie, because this was actually a better film than a lot of the predecessors.
All right. Well, I think that was very well summarized. Thank you very much.
Check us out on Facebook, 3 Geeks Flix. Give us a like, comment, holler, troll us. You don't do Facebook, we've got Twitter. It's at the number 3 Geeks Flix. That's Flix. Give us a follow there. Give us a holler there. Troll there. Get involved. You are the third geek. Get on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. Leave us some comments. We've got some things coming to get you, the fans, involved. As I said on my Geek feed the other night and stepped in it, there could be the possibility of some free crap that could be on the horizon.
That's always good.
That's always good. Hey, give us a shout out and try to make sure you get on that list for some the free crap that we have out there. And it won't necessarily just be a sandwich or a Snickers bar, though it could be, knowing the Muse. Careful when you give him the leeway, the freedom to your address, because there's no telling what may show up in that mailbox of yours.
In other words, you want to make sure you get on my list.
God. He doesn't even have my address. No?
Or do I?
Anyways. Appreciate y'all sticking around, and stay tuned to the glow of those monitors, because we're going to catch you next time. Good night.
It makes me feel special.
It should. It should.
Which doesn't happen very often these days. Are you recording, by the way?
Yes, I am. You know it, Bubba. You know it.
No, I should have known it.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Yes. I feel like I should explain, because a lot of times people can see me like looking up at the screen, and it's kind of like, yeah, I know the cameras are right here, but you're right there, and I like a lot of times like I look up, and they're just like, that's the reason I've got to look up at him. He always feels like he has to look down on me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I get. Yeah. It's a great add-on. This is great stuff.
Yeah.
Top shelf.
I literally had no questions prepared.
You kept looking off camera, and it looked like you had a list. I was like, damn, he's prepared.
Nope. No idea. But I am on a ton of sleeping medication, so that's always a win.
How much medication have you taken?
In the morning?
But anyway.
Check us out on Facebook. I'm so happy. Today I found my friend who's in my head.
I gotta go.
Angel of his eyes, pale blue colored eyes. Can you take me
It's
higher?
not even the same song.
You know what they say about gray?
What?
It means experience.
Stop trying to kiss my ass.
You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it. Legally speaking, I'm no longer allowed to say that. Is that a blooper we just stuck in our pocket?
Yeah.
It's in there.
There's been a couple. I've got a couple. I'm good now.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop recording.